All right, boys and girls, here we are again together. We are going to need our reading notebook. Hope your notebooks are close by because you're always going to need them. And we're going to open up to the next clean page. There's my notes about context clues, and I'm open up to the very next clean page. And today's date is August 26th. August 26th, 2020. Go ahead and write that at the top. And then the short date is 8/26/20. And it looks like that. Now, if you'll remember last week, we talked about this sequencing anchor chart, okay? And we were not able to get it in our notebook because I think I was having trouble with the camera that day or something. So I went ahead and posted it in our classroom, but I want to go ahead and put it in our notes, okay? So we're going to write sequencing, the order something happens in a text. So I'm just going to write that, sequencing the order something happens in a text. Oops. You can go ahead and write that now. And you can see on the anchor chart, it gives the life cycle of a butterfly. That happens in a sequence. You've got an egg, a caterpillar, a chrysalis, and a butterfly. All right? We're going to talk about these transition words, but I also want to point out that a lot of times sequencing is diagrammed like a flow chart. So it starts here first, middle, end. Okay? Now let's talk about these transition words. Transition words are really important words to watch for when you're reading and in your writing. Transition words. We're actually, in your writing today, you will watch a video about transition words. Okay. Now, remember, anytime, boys and girls, if I'm going too fast or I'm going faster than you're writing, you can just give it a pause. No big deal. Let's talk about the transition words that you could use at the beginning. You could use these at the beginning of your writing, or you could see these in the beginning of a story. You might see the word first or use the word first, to start, or to begin. Those would all be used in the beginning. And I'm going to use a bullet here to organize it, and I'm going to use dashes for my headings there. All right, now for the middle of a story, if you're writing it or you're reading it, you might see the words or use the words next, then, or after that. And at the end of a story, you might see the words or use the words finally, in conclusion, or last. I want you to get those in your notebook so that you will always have it to look back on. But you can also see that they are on the anchor chart that I posted in our classroom, like right here. Okay, sequencing. The order something happens in a text. I'm going to give you another minute to get caught up, and then I'm going to give you an example. Okay, yesterday you read Dreamcatcher and thought about how it was realistic fiction. Realistic fiction is a story that's made up, but it could really happen. Today, you're going to read Dreamcatcher again. And I've actually posted a video for your parents about why it is important to reread. Let's talk about that. I'm going to put this away, and if you're not finished, you can pause it. All right. Okay, boys and girls, it's really important to reread stories more than once. That helps you with your fluency. And fluency is a fancy word for how you sound when you read. A lot of times, whenever we read a story the first time, we might sound kind of choppy. The dog went in the water. And then the more we read it and the better we get, the more fluent we sound, okay? Because when we read, we want it to sound like we're talking, okay? So that's why we reread stories, all right? Now, we are going to read Pete the Cat Rocking in My School Shoes, and we are going to think about what's happening at the beginning, the middle, and the end of this story. And I don't know if you know Pete the Cat, but I love Pete the Cat. I'll try not to sing too much to you because I'm not a very good singer, but I might sing anyway. I like it. I like to sing. My husband's a musician. He's a really good singer. So I wish I could, but I can't. Pete the Cat, rocking in my school shoes. Think about what's happening at the beginning, the middle, and the end. Here comes Pete, strolling down the street, rocking red shoes on his 4 furry feet. Pete is going to school, and he sings this song. I'm rocking in my school shoes. I'm rocking in my school shoes. I'm rocking in my school shoes. Pete is sitting at his desk when his teacher says, "Come on, Pete, down the hall to the room with books on every wall." Where is Pete going? Where's he going? The library. Pete has never been to the library before. Does Pete worry? Goodness, no. He finds his favorite book and he sings his song. I'm reading in my school shoes. I'm reading in my school shoes. I'm reading in my school shoes. I hope you're dancing with me. Check out Pete. He's ready to eat in a big noisy room with tables and seats. Where is Pete? The lunchroom. It can be loud and busy in the lunchroom. Does Pete worry? Goodness, no. He sits down with his friends and sings his song. I'm eating in my school shoes. I'm eating in my school shoes. I'm eating in my school shoes. I think it's kind of funny he has a guitar at lunch. Pete and his friends are playing outside on a green, grassy field with swings and tall slides. Where is Pete? The playground. Kids are running in every direction. Does Pete worry? Goodness, no. He slides and swings and sings his song. I'm playing in my school shoes. I'm playing in my school shoes. I'm playing in my school shoes. All day long, Pete sings his song. I'm singing in my school shoes. I'm painting in my school shoes. I'm adding in my school shoes. I'm riding in my school shoes. When school is done, Pete rides the bus home. Pete's mom asks him, "What'd you do at school today?" And Pete says, "I was rocking in my school shoes. I was rocking in my school shoes. I was rocking in my school shoes. And I will do it all again tomorrow because it's all good." There's Pete with his guitar. Okay, so we're going to use this story to think about the beginning, middle, and end, all right? Now, when you do your assignment, you are going to do it with the Dreamcatcher. You're going to open up your textbook again online, your reading book, and you will reread the story, especially to work on your fluency, and then you will open up the Dreamcatcher slideshow, and it will look just like this. All right, and see it says type here because that's where you're going to type. I just printed it off because I'm going to write it down to show you. So I'm going to just write at the top, Pete the cat. All right, who's the main character in Pete the cat? That one's pretty easy. Pete the cat. Now for setting, I'm going to kind of put here in parentheses. This is where the story takes place and when does the story take place. So where is this story? This story is at school. So I'm going to write school, and then I'm going to put a comma because I also need to write when this story takes place. And we know that school time is during the day. So we're going to write during the day. So you can see setting has two parts. 1, 2. So I need to include two parts. 1 and 2. Now we're going to look at the sequence. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to write this over here. We're going to think about the sequence. What happened at the beginning of this book? What happened in the middle of this book? And what happened at the end of this book? At the beginning of the story, if you'll remember, he was getting ready for school. He was strolling down the street. All right, he was going to school. So we're going to put in the beginning, and I'm going to use that word first. Pete was going to school. And I hope you're noticing that I used a capital letter and a period. And then this was our transition word. Almost forgot. Transition word. Now, what happened in the middle of the story? Well, lots happened in the middle while he was at school. He went to the library. He went to the cafeteria. He went to the lunchroom. He was eating. He was on the playground. I think I'm going to put I'm going to use the word then. Let's see. Let's look back in my notebook. Maybe I don't want to use the word then. Let's look back here in my notebook. In the middle. Next, then, or after that. Maybe I'll use next. Next, Pete went all over the school. Again, capital letter and period. And there's my transition word, next. Then at the end of the book, he is home. He rides the bus and he's home. All right. So I'm going to use the transition word finally. Pete goes home. Again, a capital letter with a transition word and a period. Okay? So remember, you're not going to do this with Pete the Cat. You're going to do this with the dream catcher. All right? That's what I want you to do. You're going to put it in the sequence. Let me know if you have any questions.